Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. Today our guests are the fine folks from a fine organization called Our Piece of the Pie. We'll learn what that is when we come back, so stay with us. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. Today, an organization called Our Piece of the Pie has dropped by, and first up, it's the president and CEO. His name is Bob Rath, and first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sean.
So the first question, of course, is what is Our Piece of the Pie?
Our Piece of the Pie is a youth service organization working with 14 to 24-year-olds. And I thought I'd just quickly tell you how the name came about, because it is a pretty unusual name for an organization.
It's not like a restaurant, maybe.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
In the mid-'90s, and I've been with this organization since '94. In the mid-'90s, I was working to create an entrepreneurial program for young people, and we're meeting with young people about this program, and we were trying to come up with a name for what we were going to call it. And I suggested that we call it Youth Employment Company. And so a young woman said, "That's yuck." And I said, "But that's the best I can do." And then somebody said, "We want a piece of the pie." And then a young man said, "We want our piece of the pie." And so that became this entrepreneurial program that is folded into the overall organization. And when we rebranded to just focus on 14 to 24-year-olds 7 years ago, we liked that name because young people had created it, and so that's the name for the whole organization, Our Piece of the Pie.
So it sounded like it's evolved much since sort of an initial idea and inception.
Yes.
Because your idea had to do with youth employment, basically, just youth getting jobs, and this is really much more.
Correct. So over the years, what we've done is we've created this model that we call Pathways to Success, and it incorporates 3 fields of practice: education, youth development, and workforce development. And our work in this Pathways to Success, we want young people to complete high school, of course, and then to earn a post-secondary credential, because you really need a post-secondary credential today, and employment. And we have discovered that we can implement this Pathways to Success model in 3 different settings. So we do it in the community, where young people might be in any number of high schools. We also, a few years ago, started doing inside a high school when we opened Opportunity High School with Hartford Public Schools in 2009. And then this fall, we opened the Learning Academy at Bloomfield for the same population with pathways in the whole program. And then almost 2 years ago, we opened up our Pathways in Community College, where we have it at Capital Community College, and more recently, just this fall, started it at Snuntuck.
And that's just humble beginnings. This could grow. Our folks that are watching in Rhode Island today, there's potential that this could grow, and if they're interested, they can certainly be involved, I would imagine.
Yeah,
right?
I would hope if there's a listener out there that's interested in what we do, that they do connect with us. Let me talk to you a little bit about the young people that we work with, and because it's really been a journey for me in terms of figuring out the population where we think we can not only have the most success, but have some of the greatest impact. If you know that there are an awful lot of young people that just don't end up attaching to the workforce, they may drop out of high school and just not have success. One of the things to understand is that this group that drop out of high school and don't end up having a success, they have probably the greatest adverse economic impact on all of us as taxpayers as anybody. This is the benefit of 30 years of trying to figure this out that I'm sharing with you. Well, this group, one way to characterize them in high school is that they're overage and under credit. So what does that mean? Well, it means you're in 9th grade maybe for the second time.
Yeah.
It means that you're in 11th grade, but you got pregnant and you were out of school for a year, and you're coming back and you're off track, and the school system basically don't like people that are off track. When you get off track, they don't know what to do. So what we know is that with access and opportunity, young people can be successful, and it's our Pathways to Success approach that again combines academic supports, it combines workforce like internships and other things, and our focus on building relationships, because it's really about the relationships that change what can happen for a person. And that's where it all starts for us.
Now, demographically, depending, you were talking about where it works best for you. How about in the type of community, inner city or suburbs or both or all of the above?
Well, the majority of our work is in urban settings. When we recently opened up an office in Norwich, Connecticut, that actually is aimed at serving all of Eastern Connecticut. It's a big area of the state, but a very underserved area for this population. And we have in our mission statement and our tagline that says helping urban youth become successful adults. I will tell you that there were some people that said, well, that means it must not work for us because we consider ourselves rural in Danielson or rural in Putnam. Well, I think it's really more about the size of the urban setting, and it doesn't matter if it's a smaller urban setting like 5,000 or 10,000. The issue really is, how are young people attached in school? How are they doing in terms of their academic progression? How are they doing in terms of their thinking and planning to connect to the workforce? And you know, we've had some significant success, which I'd like to share with you at this point. We've worked with over 3,000 young people over the last 5 years. And of that total group, 80% are graduating from high school, versus a measure in Hartford of 60%. We also have almost 80% that are retaining employment for more than 12 months, which is a real important factor for us, and 60% that are completing a post-secondary credential. That means a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, or a vocational certification. If you want to be successful in the world, you really have to have not only a high school diploma, but that next credential. And it doesn't have to be a bachelor's degree. If that's what you want to do, go for it.
It could be something vocational, it could be associates.
Correct. It absolutely can. So one of the big industries in the state of Connecticut is advanced manufacturing. There are an awful lot of individuals that are special machine tool operators that are aging out, shall we say. I mean, that segment of the population is going to be finishing with their careers in a few years. And these jobs, which don't require a bachelor's degree but require some training, you know, can start off paying $35,000, $40,000 a year, and depending on your experience over time, almost $100,000 a year. Tremendous jobs with lots of opportunity in the supply lines for some of the major, you know, manufacturers in this state of Connecticut. And I know that there are probably some similar opportunities in Rhode Island as well. So, you know, we have created this Pathways in Community Colleges, and specifically a program at Asnuntuck where 90 to 100% of the completers of that advanced manufacturing program get jobs.
Right. That's now in the economy that we're in these days. Is it more vital that a service like yours could be utilized and almost necessary?
I think so, Sean. You know, just a little background data. We commissioned an economist at Northeastern University in Boston, Dr. Andrew Sum, to look at the economic impact of dropouts on Connecticut's economy. And he and his team completed 4 monographs and 200 pages, all available on our website. But I'm going to boil it down to one slide. And that one slide I call the balance sheet by grade attainment. He has a great economist phrase for it, but this
yours
one's
is easier.
Mine's simpler.
Yeah.
So it basically boils down to, over your 40 plus or minus year working lifetime, how much do you contribute in taxes versus how much you consume in services? For a dropout in Connecticut, that balance sheet, the average balance sheet, is a minus $104,000. The average. The average balance sheet for a high school graduate is a plus $414,000.
That's a big difference there.
So over the working lifetime, the difference is $500,000 for every dropout.
Wow.
That's a huge impact. I know that he's done some of that work nationally too, and the number nationally is about 300,000. I don't know what it is specifically in Rhode Island, but I would suspect that most of New England has some comparable numbers. And it's because what tends to happen is dropouts tend to have all of the adverse social indicators that cost us money. They're more likely to be incarcerated, they're more likely to have bad health they're more likely to have those adverse social indicators that you and I and all taxpayers pay for. So our view is this is a tremendous opportunity for communities and states to say, you know what, we have all these young people that we haven't been paying attention to. In fact, we just sort of let them drop off the radar screen. We used to let them drop off the radar and go into small manufacturing operations and small industry that we have, but they can't go there anymore because those jobs don't exist anymore. So instead, why don't we make sure that they can be successful and we won't have the social cost? That's one of the things that we bring. We're really focused on improving the economics of a community by making sure the young people in that community end up completing high school, earning post-secondary credentials, and be productive and taxpayers.
If somebody may not necessarily be struggling in that age group and maybe doing fine grade-wise and maybe have a focus for the future, can they still benefit from what you offer, maybe by getting ahead a little bit more?
Certainly can, Sean. Our focus, though, has been on this population that keeps falling behind.
Right.
What happens if you look over the last 40 years in graduation rates, high school graduation rates across the country, they haven't changed much. Plus or minus 30% drop out. That plus or minus 30% is a huge social cost that we're bearing. And what happens with every educational reform effort is that the focus is on let's make sure we have students graduating with higher standards, and that's fine and that's important. But we never have a dual strategy to make sure that all those kids that can't meet those higher standards, who are falling behind, don't fall further behind. And that's what our piece of the pie is about. We believe all those young people can be successful.
You know, as we taped the show, there was just an initiative that Connecticut decided to participate in, and that's like extending the hours.
Correct.
As far as talk about that a little bit if you can.
So I'm aware of, I have some awareness of that there's a major initiative from a nonprofit out of Boston that is bringing extended learning time to 3 communities in the state of Connecticut that are struggling in the state of Connecticut. The high schools that we operate both with Hartford Public Schools and with Bloomfield, they have extended learning time.
Already.
Yeah, we operate year-round schools because you can't be behind and do the same thing. Right. If you want, you've got to go through a period of catching up, and then you've got to figure out how to accelerate so that you can graduate. And it takes extra time.
Now, if someone is watching this show and they're interested, maybe in having their young people be involved, what's the first step that they take?
So the first of all, one thing is where we're operating. So if they're within the Norwich area, then they can connect with our Norwich office, and we'll be sure that as a part of the graphics that there's some contact point. If they're in the Hartford area, Hartford. If you're outside of these areas and you have interest in what we do, then they should really contact me directly, and I understand you're going to provide that email address, and I'll talk to these other communities.
As a matter of fact, we'll put up a website. Now, what's the website that people can go to?
www.opp.org.
And what's on the website that people can see and learn about?
They can see a lot of reports that we've produced or been a part of producing about our work. They'll see some exciting things about what young people are accomplishing. You can see everything that you might want to see about our financial operation, because we're very transparent about what we do. And you can learn some more about our outcomes, what we achieve.
All right. So go to the website, learn more. Even if you're in Rhode Island, check it out. Bob Rath, he is the president and CEO, and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Sean.
So we'll take a break and come back. We've got a lot more to get to. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay with us. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. Still chatting with the folks from Our Piece of the Pie, and in this segment we have Janelle Hooker. She is the supervisor of Pathways of Eastern Connecticut, basically. Your office is out of Norwich, correct?
Norwich, that's correct.
First of all, welcome to the show. So let's talk specifically about what you do, about Eastern Connecticut, and some of the programs that we're talking about here today.
So basically what we did in terms of our expansion and our growth, we were granted an opportunity through one of our direct funders, the Department of Children and Families, to expand to Eastern Connecticut. We have our office or center in 309 Otrobando Avenue in Norwich, Connecticut, and we were able to replicate and bring all the services that our Hartford office provide to this community. The services that we're provided in this community are youth development services, which is our core component, which goes into relationship with young people in order to get them to be successful. We're also able to bring with us our academic services and our workforce development component. And those are the services that we're bringing to the area.
And as Bob said, Eastern Connecticut it's a big area, but very underutilized, and it just seemed like it made sense to expand over to that side of the state.
Exactly. We were able to come and actually be working with, we're supposed to work with 36 individuals. And because we were new to the area, we were not sure of the outcome and how the perception that the community would have about our services. But we are 70% in recruitment, and we have individuals that we're serving from Thompson all the way to New London. We're also servicing from Columbia all the way to Sterling. So as you can see, it is a real big area.
Yeah,
of
it's
the
certainly
state
not
that we're
just
servicing.
southeastern Connecticut. It's really eastern. Thompson is up in the quiet corner, as they say, and all the way down to New London,
New
southeastern
London,
Connecticut.
yes.
Yeah. So that's and as supervisor, what exactly are your day-to-day duties?
So day-to-day duties is informing the community of who we are and what we're doing and how they can benefit from our services. Recruitment is a big part of it as well. And we, throughout the year of our services, we have identified that we don't do things on our own. Partnership and collaboration has been a major impact or support in the things that we're doing.
Let's talk about some of those partners a little bit.
So in terms of partnership and collaboration, for some of the services that we probably don't provide in-house, an example of that could be financial literacy. And in terms of financial literacy, when we came to Eastern Connecticut and we were trying to look for a local bank that we could work with, Dime Bank was one of the corporations that decided that they wanted to work with us.
And they're very involved in the community.
They are. They are. And we were very excited to see that they were able to work directly with me to put together a curriculum that would be engaging enough for young people, that they could actually have some hands-on opportunities in coming into the bank and have this financial exposure and experience in order for us to work with them in opening accounts and working towards saving for assets or different things that we're working with them on.
You know, and that's such a necessity to function in society. You know, your financial skills, your banking skills, you're needed. You know, you need to know. Eventually, you want to have an account, savings, checking. You want to maybe get a credit card eventually, and you just want to be part of society in that normal way, right?
Exactly. And as part of our outcomes in terms of education and employment, we also want to make sure that young people are self-sufficient. So, and then having the opportunity and the information, those are some of the things that we currently work with them. So financial literacy was a major area for us in order to help them be self-sufficient and understand their impact in today's society and the economy as well.
Okay, what else?
Other partnerships and collaboration that we're doing, we were able to reach out to the local United Way. We're also a part of the Chamber of Commerce. We also were able to reach out to the Workforce Development Board for Eastern Connecticut. And we're part of different systems of cares and group for the area that provide support for young people in terms of SEMSEC or in terms of any of the local mini groups that work around different issues that may happen in their communities.
You know, as we tape this, we're right in the holiday season. Is there anything different that's going on now as far as the youth availability for them this time of year, depending on, or as opposed to another time?
Well, we thought that it would have been a time of the year that maybe they would not access or participate in activities, but we have realized that when you develop a relationship with someone, it actually becomes a safe environment for them. And even on the days that they probably don't have to come in, they're looking to see what we're doing. How can we come in and what else is going on? So even though we're saying it's the holiday season, we are still working diligently with them, and we still have activities and opportunities and things that we're doing.
That bodes well that they want to be involved. They
Yes.
could easily be, you know, somewhere else, maybe getting in trouble or something, but instead you have inspired them enough to want to be involved. Even when they don't have to be there, they want to be there.
Exactly. It comes down to that relationship building.
Yeah.
And in terms of working towards their goals and what aspirations they may have. And it's not necessarily that they're not interested in doing it. They just needed to have that caring adult that's going to help them steer towards that pathway that they need to go into.
Now, when you were talking about curriculum earlier, when you have such a diverse age range from the bottom end to the top end, how does that work? And what does it kind of consist of more specifically?
So we try to make sure we have customized curriculums just because we understand that not all participants in our program need the same situations or activities. And one of our core components is we create for each one of the members of our agency individual service plan. An individual service plan allows us to see where the young person is coming and where they need to go, and what are some of the trends or things within their environments that we need to be aware of, and how can we get them to where they need to be. So in terms of putting together curriculums, we look at things that can work for our younger population. So in terms of workforce development, for our 14 through 16, maybe 17-year-olds, depending on their developmental areas, we work on something that we call youth business. And youth business is an introduction to employment, is an experiential learning that we do in-house. And we're working with them on soft employability skills and career competencies that employers are looking for. For our older population, our 17, 18, 19-year-olds, we're looking to have conversations on trainings, college opportunities. We do some job shadowing so that this can help us in those conversations. We also provide internship opportunities for our older population that we deem that are ready to be connected in the community with private employers as well as other nonprofit or local employers. And these internship opportunities allow us to start working with them on the skills that are necessary in order to maintain employment and be self-sufficient. And those are the focus that we have based on the age range of the
And
youth.
those partnerships that you talked about are so key to what you're talking about as far as them having the ability to do all the things you mentioned, job shadowing, getting some training, allowed to maybe be an intern or anything like that. Chambers of commerce, everybody who's connected with whether it be small businesses in a community or an area, and just one example of the partnerships and the almost necessary help that they provide with you, you know?
Exactly. And as I said, because we're new to the area, we are trying to be involved in as many activities so that we are vocal and we're able to partner and collaborate with employers and they get to know who we are and the services that we provide. We recently were able to entertain a tour with a Equipower plant in Dayville, Connecticut. And in bringing young people there, it's sparking them an interest into looking into this field that is underutilized. And for the employer, it gave them an opportunity to start looking at a target population that they probably need to start working with and mentoring in order to start looking at the individuals that can come in to help their workforce development force.
That older demo that you serve, is there almost like sort of a sense of much more urgency with them, because it's like for them they kind of almost feel the need to be out in the workforce more so they need to get either the education and or the skills necessary to be out there?
Well, we try to give all our participants the same urgency of services or services that we're providing. The younger population, we want to introduce them to it and have some type of spark that we could talk to them about. The older population, now our conversation is more focused on, yes, you're older.
Yeah.
You now need to start thinking about being self-sufficient and where you need to go. So the work is a little more intentional. We are making sure that we are connecting them with the real and potential partners that they may need. Is it vocational training? Is it employers? Is it actually going to a college tour? Is it talking about financial aid, or what are the things that you need to do? And we will make sure we stick with them throughout the process so that they can understand how to navigate the different systems and how to actually be self-sufficient and be independent, because that's ultimately one of our goals.
And like we were talking about earlier, it seems like the more they kind of get involved, the more they want to be more involved. It's almost like a domino effect that it's to their benefit.
Exactly.
Actually, you know?
We have realized that in terms of providing them opportunities, that's really the first step in working with young people. Sometimes it's not that they don't want to do it, sometimes they just don't know of the different opportunities and what it is that it takes to get to where you want to get. So in having a youth development specialist and in working on customized services and having an individual plan for them, we're able to explore the different areas and the different opportunities that are out there for them in their communities and beyond their communities as well.
We are just about out of time, so I want to give you the opportunity to mention the website one more time so that everybody can go and learn more and get in touch with the appropriate people.
Our website is www.opp.org.
All right. And if there are any employers interested in being involved with the program, you are certainly encouraged to visit the website or contact anybody you'd like, and they would certainly like to be involved with you. That's our show today. Thanks to our guests for being here. Be sure to check out our YouTube site for this show and many others. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. We will see you next time. Take care.
Because sometimes, even the rescuers need to be rescued. The Coast Guard Foundation. Find out how you